Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. It is Zach here, and it has definitely been a while. Today, I wanted to give a few updates on my life in general. I know most of the people who watch my channel are people who know me in real life, so nothing surprising. But before I get to that, I would like to talk about some of the struggles that I've had configuring some network stuff. And it's really cool, but it's really frustrating at the same time. There's a lot of googling involved. I recently discovered that a PiHole, which if you don't know what PiHole is, it is a Linux device. They call it a PiHole because first really used for running off a Raspberry Pi, but you can run off of anything pretty much that can run Linux. And the idea is that you can put huge lists of URLs into it. A lot of them are hosted out of GitHub, and it will prevent ads. You can also do some URL filtering, prevent gambling sites, drug sites, and most importantly, the metrics from Windows from going through. So I had the PiHole configured, and I had my network settings configured wrong, and that was allowing my PiHole to basically not be doing anything. So it's been sitting on my network for about a year and hasn't been working. So I went to fix it. That took many hours. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I went through. It's kind of specific to my environment, but there's a potential that in the future someone might see this and hopefully save some time. So first, I'm going to go to my PiHole here. So this is the PiHole dashboard. As you can see, I'm blocking about 30% of all traffic that's going through my network, and I have about 1.2 million domains listed on the block list. So the problem I was having was my network settings were allowing the DNS to be bypassed. Effectively, what was happening was when my queries would fail, which is the point of it being blocked, they would go find an alternative DNS server. So let's go to my Dream Machine here. And so I use Unify equipment. I have their access points right now, and their a switch and a router. Actually, kind of like it's kind of cool. I can see all the different devices that are connected. But anyways, so the first thing I encountered as a problem is this internet settings right here. And so in this settings, there is a spot here to put a primary and secondary DNS server. If you put this in here, it causes problems. This could be the same case for maybe a router that you have, but this is kind of an enterprise thing. We want to have Verizon's, in my case, Verizon's DNS servers as default, and we'll let the PiHole do the DNS stuff behind the router. So if you have a Unify Dream Machine Pro or a Dream Machine, or even the new Dream Machine, or even the security gateway, leave these empty. That it's going to cause you lots of problems. First lesson learned. For my network, I have a bunch of subnets here. I'm really only using 4 of them right now because I don't have any protect or talk devices. Not sure if I'll ever get a talk device. It's something I'm interested in. I just like to try stuff. But I'm going to be getting a doorbell camera eventually. So anyways, my main LAN is the house LAN. And so in the configuration here, what I'm looking for is the name server. You want to take it off of auto, put it in manual, and then you want the IP of the Pi or the device that has the PiHole running off of it. And then you want to make sure there's no other options. I originally had it configured, so I took one of the addresses I was using in PiHole, and I was using that as an alternative. So kind of like a failover. But like I said, the way PiHole blocks it is it basically doesn't allow those names to resolve. So if you give it a secondary option, it will fail to resolve and then look at the second one and say, oh, look, there I am. and that'll resolve. Kind of undoes everything you were doing. In the PiHole, my PiHole is sitting on this house LAN network. There is a way in PiHole to through the command line to change it so that there's multiple interfaces or sub interfaces. And I did that, but it didn't seem to jive very well with the configuration. I just had to create some rules to make sure that all of my subnets could reach my PiHole. So everyone should have a separate IoT LAN. I don't care who you are. If you can have an option between two LANs in your network, which most professional routers will do, but even some consumer grade routers that are in the mid to upper tier will allow you to have multiple networks, one for guest, one for house, or one for internal. If I were you, I would, if you had the option to only have two networks, I would screw the guests and have an IoT LAN, just so you can have this devices separated from the rest of your stuff. You don't want, your, I don't know, in my case, my Philips Hue smart lights hacking into my computers. Or I think the Nest cams are really bad. I don't have one of those though. But here I have the ability to have multiple LANs. So I have a guest LAN, I have a house LAN, and I have IoT LAN. There's firewall rules set up so these can't talk to each other. Management is just to add devices, and then the protect and talk LANs are disabled right now. So that being said, the next important step is to go through your firewall rules. We're going to go global threat management here, and then we don't care about any of this. We're looking at firewall. So I'm going to start from the internet zone first because that's things coming in. Everything before here, these are rules that are things that are trying to hit my PC. I just block them. Allow establish related and drop invalid state. These are default, and they're also down here for the local traffic too. These are default rules. So my PiHole will reach out to an external DNS server and ask for some information. And then once that server gives it information, it's going to send it back to the PiHole. That would be under established related. So I don't need to set up any specific rules to allow the DNS traffic coming in from the servers. However, I do need to allow specifically, I want DNS to go from inside the network to outside the network. The directional thing is really kind of complicated to understand. After doing it a couple of times, I still have trouble with it. I have to look it up every once in a while. Internet out is egress, so going out of the interface, and then coming in. Internet in is ingress, which is coming into the interface. So it's not always, it doesn't always make sense when you have to think about the directionality of how it's coming into the port and out of the port, not the network and into the network and out of the network, because it doesn't always kind of line up that way. So I am allowing TCP and UDP from my PiHoles. That I put all the addresses in here using DNS, and the destination is anywhere with DNS. So that allows my PiHole to talk out to the internet and reach the servers. I can show you my groups real quick. I have a couple of groups. I have RFC 1918 that blocks allows me to block or allow public or private network addresses, if you know what that is. I also have a network here, or a group here to get all the PiHole addresses. So there's one in each subnet that I have, even though the 10.50 is really the only one that I'm really using. And then I have DNS, which uses port 53 and port 853, 853 being the secure version of DNS, called DNSSEC. And then I have a port group here that allows HTTP and HTTPS, because PiHole, I think, only allows HTTP. And that you'll see it in a bit. So going back to our list here. Now, so we're going to LAN. In LAN, I have a rule here. This allows me to manage my PiHole. And this is when I accept TCP and UDP. Source is this PC that I'm using right now. That's the only PC I use to manage my network, so that's allowed. And then destination to the PiHole using HTTP or HTTPS. And then I go back. I really don't like it. Keeps jumping you back to internet. I wish it would stay on the one that you were on before. I also allow established and related from my segmented LANs to my other LANs. So, and I could also allow this is for my IoT devices, I allow new connections to go from house to IoT, kind of ignoring the separation. It doesn't work the other way around though. This rule right here, we're going back to the PiHole configuration. This allows established and related traffic from the PiHole on any port to the my management PC. You might ask why I didn't put DNS or HTTPS for these, and that's because when a device is communicating out, it is not going to use the DNS port or the HTTP port. It's going to use a random port number. So I just want to make sure that I didn't get that accidentally prevented because of that. Which I had done a couple of times through my configurations. Next, the next one, these are the ones that allow all of my DNS connections to my different LANs. So we'll look at the house one, for example. This one's kind of a pointless rule because communication within the LAN is usually allowed. Unless you have something set up to prevent that. But I just set it up to be consistent, and in the event that I end up moving my PiHole to a different VLAN for whatever reason. So TCP and UDP source is from my network of house LAN, and it's an IPv4 subnet, and the destination is to PiHole only using DNS. And then that rule is basically repeated for each network that I have. I also set it up for the talk and protect LANs, even though I don't have them set up, so that when I turn on my protect or my talk equipment, that I don't need to come back here and set things up. Those networks are shut down, so if anyone tries to use DNS queries to my protect network, it will go nowhere. And then down here, I have a local rule for management of the PiHole. Same thing as the LAN traffic here, just in case I end up changing the subnet of the PiHole. I just want to have these rules set up in advance. All I have to do is change the IP address and it's done. This rule right here is going to drop all other traffic trying to go manage the PiHole. I'm blocking all RFC 1918s, any port, and destined to the PiHole for any port. That allows me to make sure that no one nefarious is breaking onto my network, and I guess the only way they can do it is if they copied my IP address, but that would cause other issues. So that's really it for the network configuration. You really want to set this up ahead of time before you try to set up your PiHole, because if you have your DNS set up to go through PiHole like I did, and you start making these changes, you will eventually lock yourself out of your own network. At the very least, I blocked myself out. Actually, I think it was the preventing all other management. I accidentally put the rule too high on the list, and that prevented my my computer to be able to manage it anymore. So I had to go and take the Pi out of the closet, bring it back out here into my office, and then connect it up with HDMI cable. And I had to do it basically via console. I had to disconnect my keyboard from my computer, and it was not very fun. So that's really it for the network configuration of it. Now, going back to the PiHole, I did run into some more problems. These aren't necessarily things you would run into if you, depending on the environment that you're using. So the first thing that I ran into was I ran into an issue where my PC, it still kind of has an issue right now, but my PC would show as not having internet access, even though I definitely most certainly had internet access. And what happened was one of my block lists, so we'll go into group management here and go to add lists. These are the lists that you can bring up to block traffic to these particular things. The main list I'm using right now is the block list project. You can get more lists. I'll probably eventually get more lists. But if you go crazy and block too much, it can become a mess to clean it up. But you can see these kind of have a categorization of abuse, ads, crypto, fraud, gambling, all kinds of things here that you can kind of block that and prevent people from reaching those on your network and vice versa. The one that caused it is this one right here, which is a specific list that blocks Windows telemetry, and there is a Windows service address that the PCs reach out to when you connect to figure out if you have internet connection or not, and it was being blocked. So how you can deal with that is you can go to your query log, and you'll see these are all the events that are happening. So you've got blocked, you've got OK. It'll tell you if it's using security NS or not security NS. Most things are not using security NS. But what ended up happening was that site was being blocked. So what you can do is, like, say, for example, this one right here, I wanted to allow, I go over here and click whitelist. You also manually find it added to the whitelist here. This is kind of using a regex. It automatically did this for me because I originally just did the msftncsi.com, and it was still blocking it because there's a prefix of DNS dot there that was still messing up. So I just whitelisted all the ones that begin with that and end with that, just allowing that. I also I've made a whitelist for PiHole updates, which ended up being kind of a diagnostic thing that ended up not actually mattering. So that's pretty much it for this part of the video here. This is a really cool utility if you can make it work. As you see here, I've got 1.2 million domains that are being blocked, and about 30% of my traffic is being blocked, which means that 30% is now available for me to use for other things. And it also means that Microsoft and Amazon and all those places are no longer as able to spy on me, and it's a little bit more powerful than using extensions, because that only protects you when you're in the browser. This protects you for your whole network, including devices that normally you don't have the ability to control, like smart devices, smart TVs, Apple TVs, lots of TVs. But yeah, but you can create some issues. It's definitely something you don't want to do if you are not a tech savvy person and have a little bit of background in networking, or want to do a lot of Googling. And obviously, even I still had trouble with it. So going to the other part of my video, which is updates on me. So if you don't care about that, you can leave now. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone wants to know a little bit about me. I was working on a series for the CCNP Encore exam that I had to put on hold. I was just finishing up my bachelor's program, and it was becoming a little challenging to juggle work full time, the bachelor's program full time, and also working on a pretty significant certification. I didn't want to stop working on certifications altogether, though. So in the meantime, I actually went and I earned my ITIL 4 foundation exam. That exam is actually a fairly easy exam if you've worked in a help desk before. And I'd recommend it if you've been in that environment before and you want to kind of prove your skills and maybe push towards management, which is kind of where I'm going. It's not really a practical exam for someone who's going to be in network operations or security operations. It's useful information, but it's definitely not something you would need. It's something you can have as a selling point if you're planning to go for the management route. So I'm in a master's program right now, and even though I'm only going part time, obviously the coursework for a master's level program is quite a bit more significant for compared to a bachelor's program. So I'm gonna kind of take it slow with my CCNP exam. I have a year to take it, and if I run out of time, I'm planning on just paying the ridiculous $1,000 in order for me to just take a certification course through Cisco for the CCNP. The website that I normally use for this kind of stuff is called itpro.tv, a pretty good resource. But the Cisco version of it, if you spend the big bucks on it, not only will it prepare you for the exam, but it will let you uh, automatically renew your CCNA, which it sucks, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. I don't want to lose my CCNA certification in the meantime. After I get my CCNP, which will also require me to take a second exam, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. Um, Enterprise design looks like a good option, but also my company is going to be rolling out SD-WAN soon. And so there's an SD-WAN module. We'll be using Cisco's SD-WAN system. So it'd be nice to be able to know how to work on that ahead of time or learn while it's being installed. Uh, so in my life, other than education wise, I actually, if you didn't notice, I don't know how many people watch my videos and keep track of me, but this room is kind of different. I've done quite a bit of upgrades to my setup. One is I bought a house, so that's one thing. And I've also upgraded some of my equipment. My webcam's a little bit better. I'm using an Elgato face cam, which I really like. It doesn't have a fixed focus, or it doesn't have a adaptive focus, so you don't have to worry about like when I'm moving back and forth it being like autofocus. And if I hold like a piece of paper with wording on it, I don't have to like move it like you see people on YouTube do to like get their camera to focus. You don't have to do that. It'll just always in the focal range of the front of my computer. I think it's like 6 or 10 feet is once it starts going out of focus. Like you can see my doorknob back there is a little out of focus. So as long as I don't stand back there, not a big deal. I also upgraded my lighting. I had these little photo lights, and they work great for me. Except one of them, the mount just started falling apart, and so I'm like, well, I'm already got the Elgato face cam, and so now I'm gonna get the Elgato key lights. So I got those. I had to struggle with Amazon to get more than one. It's the Christmas. Everyone wanted it apparently. I also have new headphones. I like these headphones. These are the Sennheiser HD6XX headphones that you can from Massdrop. A lot cheaper than the 650Ss that they are basically the same of. And I also have a Shit Audio, great company, funny name, DAC and amp for my headphones. So next upgrade is gonna be my microphone. I have this like Behringer, uh, just like regular plain old microphone, came in a streaming kit. Really nice to get started, but I'd really like to get myself a nicer microphone at some point, and then next upgrade after that is my computer. But that's going to take a while. I'm also going to be getting a Tesla soon. That's going to be in a month or so, so you'll probably see some content about that once that's there. So if you have any questions about any of the things I talked about, the certification exams I'm taking, anything about school that I'm doing, I'm definitely a person who reads all the comments. If you've commented on my videos before, you usually know I will respond or at the very least read your comments. And actually, this video was because some people had commented on the other videos that I wondering if I had passed the test or if I was going to continue the series. So felt like I had to respond to that and just do it all at once. So this video will be uploaded pretty soon because my classmates are not going to be very happy if I don't do my group project. I'm going to get it done. Don't worry. Um, Actually, I might have already got it done depending on when this is uploaded. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everyone who's stayed subscribed to my channel, even though I make a video once every like 17 months or whatever the number is. And I'm serious about really investing a lot of time in this channel just because of all this stuff I got going on in my life. So stay subscribed if you haven't been subscribed. subscribe. You'll see a video like every once in a while, and then like the video if you like it and all that stuff. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great day.